So this is actually a really difficult video for me to make because I came to Ukraine to talk about Russia's crimes against this country. But today I want to talk about a different type of crime, and that is corruption. And the truth is that Ukrainians are absolutely furious right now. Ukrainians that live in cities like this in hours of darkness every single day. And they just found out that hundreds of millions has been looted from the energy sector at a time people can't heat their homes, and they're justifiably furious about it. And it looks like in the last few hours, at least some of those responsible have fled the country. If you remember in 2014, Ukrainians stood up and protested the corruption, the fact that their government looked east as they looked west, as they voted west, and the president basically had to flee.
Jubilation on the streets of the Ukrainian capital, who want an end to corruption and rights abuses to become closer to and more like Europe and the U.S. Yanukovych, who has kept Ukraine closely tied to Russia, has fled the capital.
And the reason I'm making this video here in Maidan is because this is basically why Maidan happened. Ukrainians demand accountability. They have lived through generations of Soviet occupation, treated like second-class citizens, and they've decided that they don't want another second of it. And so when they see things like this happen, when they see the corruption scandal back in the summer, they went out on the streets and they protested.
Lawmakers in Ukraine have voted to restore the independence of anti-corruption agencies. The vote reverses a controversial law passed earlier this month and sparked unprecedented mass protests. And protesters cheered outside Parliament after the vote. Demonstrators had been gathering there for days to demand the scrapping of a previous law that gave the government more control over anti-corruption authorities.
And it's also why the bigger picture is important. While Russian propagandists are jumping on this and saying that this is evidence that Ukraine is corrupt, what this actually is evidence of a country that demands respect and accountability from its own government. And slowly, they're getting it. And after almost a century of Soviet occupation, the rot of a mafia state, the mafia state that's Russia and there was the Soviet Union, still exists, and it takes a very long time to eradicate. And that's why it's amazing to see. That's why it's amazing to see so many people stand up and protest like they did here in 2014, because Ukrainians are never going to stand for this kind of bullshit ever again. And there's a lot of Western journalists not talking about this right now, saying, doesn't really matter, there's a war going on, we should focus on what the Russians are doing. Well, the reason Ukrainians are fighting every single day isn't just to take back land, it's so they can have a free country, a country free from corruption, and a country where they can decide their own destiny. And that's why things like this are so important to talk about and call out the second they happen. And another point to those people saying Ukraine is corrupt, the very fact I'm sitting here in the center of the capital and saying this out loud without any repercussions, I haven't been arrested, and at least not yet, shows that Ukraine values democracy at its core in the bigger picture. It values freedom of press in a way you would never, ever see in Russia. And again, that's why I can sit here right in the capital and say this totally unfiltered. So there's still so much coming out about this story, but what I haven't seen on any of the TV reports are about how everyday Ukrainians actually feel. I haven't seen any vox pops or any streeters on BBC News, so I reached out to one of my really good friends, someone who also works in journalism, but she was also there at the protest in the summer, and I just wanted to ask her on a personal level how she felt about seeing this news as a Ukrainian. Do you have power right now at home?
No, actually, I just left my apartment, no power, no electricity till midnight, I guess.
Yeah, so I think I tried to find somewhere with electricity, and I've managed to find the brightest bar in the whole of Leeds. So
no, I love this bar because it's always light here and such a cozy atmosphere.
So on a personal level, as a Ukrainian, how does it feel seeing stories like this, and this story specifically, break in the news?
I felt a lot of anger and desperate, but still, I think that this corruption is not identify me as a Ukrainian and Ukraine as an independent country. I want consequences for everyone involved in this process.
Why do you think there is still so much corruption in the Ukrainian government in so many different aspects?
Corruption is like a disease that's very hard to cure in a very short period of time, not even in a years. So I think it's actually post-Soviet era heritage that we have in Ukraine. But listen, I'm gonna repeat that again and again. If we hear about cases of corruption, it means that the system is working, that somehow we're, having a fever, but we are curing our body. That's what I think, and I always thought that. When you have a fever, it's already a result of the virus that you haven't had in your body for a long time. And we are at the beginning of the process of healing. And let's imagine our temperature of the body is 38 Celsius, and it's going to be 40 soon. It's going to be hotter. But then, if we're gonna take right medicine and pills, you know, in terms of Ukrainian policy, if they're gonna do right actions in the government, Zelensky and others, we're gonna cure our country. I don't know. I truly believe in that. But Russian propaganda, they want us to think there is no reason to fight, so we have to give up. That's what I mean about that. So no, it's just very hard period, but we get better soon.
Yeah.
How soon, how fast it's gonna be, that I don't know. Not in a year, trust me, not in a year. It's the illusion to think we're gonna be fine in 1 year.
So many people on Twitter from abroad have been asking how Ukrainians feel about Zelensky specifically now. Like, has it changed your personal opinion of it?
I think all those Russian messages right now, they directly going to break Ukrainians mentally, psychologically, that we're gonna think that Zelensky is not good. We need someone tougher. And someone tougher, guess who? Someone from Russia.
Yeah.
So I think that one of the ideas, I don't see any possibility right now in Ukrainian government to resign.
Yeah.
It's going to be a complete mess. This is not what we need right now. Definitely no. Not under the circumstances we are living in. So no, this is not the. Why they are sending those messages? Just to break us psychologically. They are always doing that. Just give up. You have a shitty government. Just give up.
Yeah.
I think this is the main reason why they're spreading this information, that no one is good from you, only someone from Russia. Because you know what? A lot of people from the West, I was telling you that, sending me a message, hey, this is a corruption scandal, this is not good. I know.
Yeah.
We have our own shit, and we're gonna deal with it.
Thank you so much for watching this report. I know it's pretty depressing to hear negative stories like this about Ukraine. I try and focus on the resilience and the greatness of this country in the backdrop of what Russia's doing. But it's the truth. I came here to do journalism and talk about what's happening. And today, unfortunately, that is what's happening. And in the meantime, I'm editing a frontline report I've just finished filming. I spent 5 days in the Donbass in dugouts, in trenches with soldiers fighting in the Pokrovsk-Konstantinivka direction. So I'm going to be bringing you an on-the-ground report of exactly what's happening in that area as well, because there's really bad news coming out of the front too. So if you enjoyed this, please hit subscribe, and especially please leave a comment. A, I love reading feedback, I love reading your comments, but B, it really helps the algorithm and just helps grow my channel. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.